and welcome to this edition of the RazReport. We're very excited to be in Auburn Hills, Michigan with Sandy Munro. Sandy, I can do a whole intro on this guy. This guy has taken the internet by storm. When it comes to electric vehicles, when it comes to manufacturing, taking apart cars, batteries. I sent out a message last night to some followers. I got 65 questions in about an hour. The last time I had this kind of reaction this quickly was when I had Kathy Wood on from ARK Invest. And you know Kathy Wood from ARK? No, so she's an analyst. No, but that just shows you're an expert at what you know. Kathy Wood is an analyst at ARK Investment, an ETF fund. And they're one of the biggest bulls of Tesla and electric vehicles and innovation. And so now that I say her name, you'll hear it. But we're right at headquarters. I got to walk around here today. He's taking apart cars, batteries. Sandy, how did you do all this? I mean, this place is gigantic. How did you do
first
all
off, I did not do it all. This is, we got an 80-person team here. Almost everybody, well, everybody is an engineer that's working back here. We continuously are looking at, you mentioned the cars and whatnot, but if you look around, you'll see over there, there's airplanes, we have washing machines. We've done everything. We've worked on everything from Barbie to the space station, and that's kind of why people hire us, because we have a diverse background, and so what we can do is take a technology that's commonplace, let's say in kids' toys, and bring it into a medical device. And it's a good example because snap fits in toys are the absolute best. Plus, they're the most litigious. You cannot beat. You can't win against a lawsuit when there's children involved. They just put a 1 down and keep writing zeros and hope that you'll say when to stop. So, children's toys for snap fits are unbeatable.
Well, I remember in your Elon Musk interview, you did talk about Legos. Legos and being like a great manufacturing thing. But going back to, we're going to get into all the auto stuff, battery technology. We've about a half an hour, but I'm going to skip to this part. I'm going to move off auto. You've designed a lot of things, but one of the things that frustrates me is ice skates. So my son used to play hockey, and they're impossible to tie. You have to use all your might. I'm not that strong, and I always wished Elon Musk's kid, ice skates, and he'd create new skates. But then I'm here with you, and you're an inventor like that. So I brought my golf shoe. My golf shoe has laces, but instead they use this air thing. Yeah. So it tightens, and you just go like this, and it's like I don't have to tie my shoes anymore.
Right.
Why don't they make this like on every shoe? And could you make this for ice skates?
Oh, of course we could. But the thing is here, I mean, this is not a new invention.
It's not?
No, it's been around for a long, long time. And this one's a little different than normal. But in essence, there's another one where you can pump them up, and you don't have laces on that. You can do a myriad of different things, and these are the types of things that I don't know how to describe it, but they've been around for a long time, but people just don't want to jump into it, and I don't know why. But for ice skates, I used to play hockey, and lacing up takes forever. Having something like this,
I'm going to start off with a little background about you. So when you were 15, 14, 16, what were you thinking you were going to do in life? Were you always a tinker? Like, how'd this come about?
Okay, so I grew up on a farm in actually right across the river in Canada, in Essex County, and at 13 or 14, I would have been picking tomatoes, and I knew that was not going to be for me. So the farmers used to hire us in the wintertime to help them do the maintenance on the farm equipment and whatnot. So I did that. At 16. I became 18. My dad ran a factory, and you're supposed to be 18 before you can work in a factory. And he said, it's about time you started your apprenticeship. And he knew I wanted to be a tool maker. So I started my apprenticeship at 16. For 18, 17, I was 18. And 18, I was 18. And by the time I was 19, I had my journeyman's card.
So some kids are sneaking into bars, getting alcohol. You were sneaking into work.
I was sneaking into work and bars and alcohol because, after all, if you're working with tool makers, you got to have lunch.
That's true.
And the closest tavern, I mean, if everybody came running in, boom, 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 the peers went on the table, eat if you're in Canada, eat pickled eggs and beer and then back to work.
Yep, totally understand. Okay, so that's how you got your start.
Yep.
So then you, I'm gonna skip a little bit. You ended up at like Ford.
Yeah.
How did you end up at Ford? How did that come about? Would they recruit you? Like, how did that come about?
Well, I was working at a place just before that, Valiant Machine Tool, which is a huge machine tool company, and we designed and built at Valiant an assembly line for them for intake manifolds, and I was the chief engineer at the time. And Ford came to me and said, "Hey, you ever thought of moving on up?" And,
How they know you? They just knew you.
I was fairly well known in the machine tool world. Ford, GM, Honda, Toyota, they all knew kind of what we did and who I was.
Yep.
And so they offered me a job, and I came in as so I had I don't know, about 100 guys working for me at Valiant.
But we're talking about Ford wanted to automate the assembly line. And
Right.
so they came to you and said, can we automate the assembly line? What was your answer? And were you guys able to automate the assembly line?
The answer was basically no. I can't automate anything simply because it wasn't designed for automation. And designing for automation requires a different thought process. And the thought process is really simple. You design for a robot, you're designing for a one-armed, blind idiot. A robot can only pick something up and put it down, kind of like an idiot. He only got one arm, and he doesn't have any eyes normally, not unless you want to spend a lot of money. And so in those days, that was what you had to live with. And so we started designing products at Ford to, first off, reduce parts significantly. And we took 30% of the parts out of the first car that we analyzed. 30% of the parts was a lot. And then many of the parts could be robotically put together, but we found that there was no return on investment. We could do it faster, cheaper, and better with people. So where GM had gone in a direction of they sent hundreds and hundreds of robots to different factories and said, here, put these in and get them going. And Ford, we designed for robotics, found out we could make a seat, we could stuff a seat cushion with a robot. But at the end of the day, what for? It didn't give us a return on investment, so we just kept the people.
Got it. Okay. And then how many years were you at Ford?
10, right to the day.
Okay. And why'd you leave Ford?
There was some. I had a
politics,
conversation.
because didn't you make an impact? Didn't you make a big impact on the Ford Taurus, one of Ford's biggest selling cars ever?
Right. Yeah, the Japanese called it the Taurus shock. It scared the daylights out of them. That's, like I say, 30% less parts. People pay attention because everybody tears their cars.
And that you were
to pieces.
responsible for?
Oh no, not just me.
I know.
Again, but that was Team Taurus, and it was there was thousands of people on Team Taurus, and my contribution was, how do we get rid of parts? How do we challenge all these parts that we're using? And we have a little card that we use. And in essence, if a part doesn't have to move or it doesn't have to be a fundamentally different material, then it's a candidate for elimination or combination to other parts. And then we said, screws are our enemy, because we had done a lot of research to find out what were the main poor quality drivers. And it was fastening devices, slave fasteners like screws, belts, and screws, belts, and springs. And we got rid of tons of them. They were just, it was just amazing how we reduced the number of parts, and the quality just shot to the moon. And that's when I also worked with Dr. Deming. Dr. Deming and I, he was actually the reason that I left. He told me to leave.
Oh, really?
Yeah, he said I was wasting my time. I normally do my Dr. Deming thing. Sandy, well, this is just ridiculous. You can make a lot more money and have a lot more fun if you leave this place. And unfortunately, Red Poling was standing right there.
Oh,
and
God.
he was the big shot at Ford. And so I thought, maybe it's a good time to leave.
Or get a raise if he sees that you're...
Well, the raises, I got plenty of raises. I was happy. I moved up very quickly at Ford.
Yep.
But I'm not a good politician. I can't remember names, and it just...
I'm Jason.
I got that.
No, it's all right. I forget names too. So you're Sandy. You're just famous though. So okay. So that was you decided to leave Ford 10 years.
Yeah.
Then I don't know what happens next, but you had something to do with create or with the club car, the precedent? Like, can you take us back to that and with the golf cart, basically?
So there's a couple of steps in between. So we worked on, we were working with General Motors, and we helped them get ahead and save a couple of cars. The best one, I guess, would be the Camaro Firebird, where we not only did we help them redesign it and take out a tremendous amount of cost and weight and quality issues, but we also made it so it was buildable. And so that was a big success story. And then the Cadillacs and went on. Then from there, we got a job with Land Rover and Range Rover. And so we helped them reduce their cost and weight and make it so that the car was really well done. And we worked for Range Rover, but actually we were paid by BMW directly. So anyway, on one of those trips, I got a call from Nancy Lurch, the lady who used to run Munro Associates. And she said, we need to go to Augusta, Georgia. And I said, whatever for? And she said, well, the people there at Club Car, they want to talk to you. I said, really? Why? And apparently they heard something from the BMW guys. And so anyways, instead of flying...
How old were you then?
I would be about 43, something like that.
Okay.
43, 44.
I may be that right now, but go ahead.
Oh, maybe. Oh.
Okay.
Well, anyway, so I flew to Atlanta, got to Augusta. We sat down in front of the executives at Club Car, and they said, how much would it cost to redesign our car? And I want it to be as successful as what you're doing with the people at BMW. And I said, I don't golf. I've never seen one of your cars. And that's how it started. So,
wow.
So we gave them a price, and we started working on it. And 18 months later, we had a product that, or they had a product that we had redesigned completely. We'd done all the engineering. We did all the, we did a lot more what we would call background work for like marketing and whatnot, finding out what the customer's needs and wants were. We changed everything on that car. And when we brought it out, and we also did the factory, we took one of their warehouses, sandblasted it, painted it white, put in all the tools and equipment. Everything was done in the dark. Nobody knew about this at all. There was only 3 people on the planet that worked at Club Car that knew what was going on. The president, CEO, the vice president of engineering, and the vice president of manufacturing. That's it. Nobody else knew.
Did you get a different facility to do it?
We did it here in Detroit. Everything was done right here.
Really?
Yes, everything. So the engineering was done here. The first builds were done here.
Yeah.
All the machine tools were done here. All the molds and dies were done in Michigan. Everything then went down to Augusta, and it was all installed at night.
Wait, oh my God! Wait, so what was the club car like, the golf cart like before you did something to it?
It was exactly the same as all the other ones. Crap. I mean, you had bouncing. People would bounce out of these things when they were driving. They'd flip over really easy.
Oh, wow.
They had all kinds of issues with steering and handling. They were just junk. And so what we did was we gave them a real, true suspension. We made it so that the car was really viable. So the big thing is, or what I'm leading up to is, we went to the to what they call the PGA, and it's not what you think. It's a big conference that's in Orange County, Florida, and we were standing at the top of the Club Car Pavilion. And we could see all the way out to the beginning, or the doors for the big convention center. And we watched everybody come in. And so first thing that happens is you go through all the tchotchke, buying golf balls and tees and all kinds of other stuff. And then they go in and they're looking at groundskeepers equipment.
You were at the PGA show.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. And then you come back, and that's where the golf cars are. So the first one was the Textron, the E-Z-Go, then the Yamaha, and then we were in the very end. And the reason for that was because we had put in our own track. We had a brand new Yamaha, a brand new E-Z-Go, and the brand new club cars. And the motto was, drive it once and see the difference. And I'm telling you what, we had a 2-story booth. No one had ever seen anything like this. The crowds came walking through. They'd stop for a minute here or there, and they kept coming and coming. And when I was standing on top of that pavilion, looking around, there might have been 30 to 40 people in the rest of the convention hall, but everybody was right there.
So wait,
We sold out a whole year of production in 1 or 2 days.
well, you had to have some serious gall to do. Like, you took the competitors' golf carts, put them on your track.
Yeah.
Weren't they mad at you, those guys?
Oh, yeah.
Didn't they, like,
Are you
seriously,
kidding?
Like, I can't even
Well,
imagine, because, like,
yeah, of course they were mad. They were mad because they didn't do anything. And when Mont Miller was the guy that actually got the thing started, and Mont Miller said,
Miller's the last name? Or
yeah,
first? Okay.
Matt Miller was his name. Mont, M-O-N-T. Anyway, he said, we have to do something. We have 30% of the market share, and we have to do something that's going to be dramatic if we want to grow the company.
Amazing.
And he said, and I'm picking you. And that's what we did. And they went from basically 30% market share to 80.
Wow.
In 1 year.
And you had a big impact. I mean, your company had a big impact on that.
Yeah. Yes, it did. And there's videos. I mean, there's videos.
Are you guys an owner of it?
No.
But you got paid. You got paid.
We
You
did.
made the deal, but it would have been, you could have said, hey, 1%, you know?
Well, we tried that, and initially everybody was on for that. Well, we'll give you, I can't remember what it was, like say $100 a car or whatever, something
yeah.
like
Oh,
that.
yeah, Kevin O'Leary, royalties.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
I should have had him on my
Oh,
side.
yeah, you should have. Hey, we could get him on now.
Yeah, maybe.
He's one of our closest, like one of my closest guys.
Oh, really?
He's been on my show like 6 times. I'd call him right now.
Mr.
on FaceTime.
Wonderful, yeah.
Mr. Wonderful would answer FaceTime right now. But yes, we can
No
have
kidding.
him.
Wow.
If there's an angle for royalties and you have something, Kevin could help.
Well, I just like to figure out how you can make a contract that makes it work.
Yep.
Anyways, we got into it, and then once they saw how much money we're peeling out, and after the big thing was when we made the prototype, and they drove it around. No, we're not giving you a penny.
They knew
and
what
that
they
was the
had.
end. They knew what they had, and
But that's what I mean by like the opportunity that you see or have. Like, I'm just like sitting here and I wish like I just almost like I like brought in packages. I buy toys for the kids and it's wrapped in all these annoying things and all these things that are hard to put up apart. The ice skates example. I'll even give you another one. I mean, now they're working on a little bit, and I get robotic stuff is tough for not solid parts, but making a cheeseburger. You can make a car, I know, because there's solid parts, but a cheeseburger, there should be more robotics with there, you know, and putting it on the sides. Like, there's just so many things that it's like, I feel like you're like the Albert Einstein. It comes around, you're Thomas Edison, and you can just improve upon it, you know?
well, I'll tell you, you were talking about food. There's lots of robotics in food, and one of the systems that we put up was we bought I don't know, several hundred of these little tiny robots for one of the companies that we were working with in China, and we stuck them there, and they make noodles, because when you make noodles in a big batch, they don't taste quite the same. And in China and Japan and Korea, they know the difference. So we had hundreds of these little robots mixing up noodles, like the ingredients and whatnot. Everything was automated, and so we worked. In fact, Necco candy, we brought them. We showed them how they could make candy faster and easier. But for McDonald's or something like that, maybe when they get to $15 an hour, they'll consider it. But if you're hiring kids and they're running at $10 an hour, pretty hard to justify a robot for taking that out.
I get it. And then the issues. All right. I know our listeners keep asking me to ask about certain companies, Arcimoto. And I'm not trying to take any low-skilled jobs away. I'm just saying to augment some stuff where people find these things frustrating.
There's something called the 4Ds. Dirty, dangerous, and drudgery, 3Ds. And that is what we try and do as well. That's a good place for robotics. I don't want people to do a mindless job that something else can do. I don't want them being dangerous. And why should I put somebody in a dirty environment? Nobody wants to wallow around in mud. So those are the 3 things that I look at for robotics.
Yeah, I mean, we do have that robot vacuum thing in our house now, so I don't know what that's defined as, but it's something. Okay, so we're going to get to the automaker stuff right now. I wanted to get a little background on Sandy because I wanted you guys to realize this isn't a one-trick pony, not a two-trick pony. This is a guy over a lifetime of invention success and improving processes. The golf cart thing is quite a story. I didn't know that whole part of it. Because like I'm a golfer, or I think I'm a golfer somewhat. And so it's just quite a story. I feel like you should have you should be able to get any amount of golf carts you want per year now since you did that for them.
Well, we have one in the front.
I saw
but,
that's what I saw. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm moving to, we're moving to the automaker stuff.
Okay.
Okay. And then we're going into batteries. So we got automakers and batteries. And you guys know Sandy did it, the whole California trip. We're going to talk about that and we'll go fast. So electric cars. One of the things back in the day when people would say, Jason, Tesla's way overvalued and all this stuff, they would say, well, Ford and Chrysler and GM are going to wipe them out. And I said, their business model isn't set up for that because they make money on service and electric cars have fewer parts. My dad's friend Joel said, Jason, you're out to lunch. This is when Tesla was 1/10. And I wish I would have listened to my conviction more and bought more. What's your take on this situation with the existing OEMs or automakers? Like, are they gonna be able to innovate and become an electric only kind of thing? Or is the existing model gonna prevent them from really true innovation?
They have to change or die. That's as simple as that. I made a bunch of predictions. In 2019, I did a round the world tour. I'm not as popular around here as I am in China, Japan, Korea, Singapore.
You're more popular
Europe.
over there?
Oh yeah, way more popular.
I told my son Josh that you're more popular than Justin Bieber. You know who that is?
I want to say a singer.
Yeah, he's a singer.
Okay, good. Yeah.
So
Thank God.
Yeah,
I don't want to get any hate mail because I didn't know who Justin.
Yeah. So wait, you're more popular in Asia. Wow. Okay. Keep going.
But anyway, yeah, because they were looking at what's going to come next down the pike, and so in 2019, I made this round the world thing. So I went to China, I went to Japan, I went to Korea, I went to Singapore, I went to someplace in the Middle East that I can't think of, and then to Norway, and then to Britain, and then back home. And I basically ran the same speech when I was talking about the future. And when I talked about the future in 2019, I said, by 2030, more than 50% of the cars are going to be electric, build cars. And everybody went crazy. Oh, that can't possibly be right. That's not right. Now I've corrected that to 2028 because that's where I think the crossover point's going to be. And people are saying,
what do you define crossover?
Crossover, that means that, like, for instance, right in back of me is the Mustang, right? This is the Mach-E. Did you know that this is outselling the real Mustang?
Really?
ICE vehicle right now?
Wow.
Yeah. Wow is what we have to remember. In the early 1900s, it was 50-50 for ICE vehicles and for EVs, because ICE vehicles had to have a crank, and EVs, women and people who didn't want to try and crank it, they would buy an EV. And so in 10 years, they went from 50-50 to 100% and zero.
Why?
In 10 years, because one guy, Boss Kettering University. Okay, that guy invented the electric starter for a car.
Oh,
instantly,
so no crank anymore.
No crank, and suddenly there was a change. Now we're looking at the same thing happening. Now we're looking at, first off, personal opinion is changing. Okay, you've got everybody in the world thinking, I don't want to be a polluter. I want to be, a clean kind of person. Okay, that's one thing that's happening. But the other thing that's happening is the price of batteries are dropping like a rock. And now this product right here is outselling let's say, the real Mustang. So this kind of stuff is what's going to make the difference. So in 2019 and 2020...
Does Ford have a charging network like Tesla?
No, they're using Charge America or any other kind of charger that's out there. So there's a lot of different type of chargers that you can get out there. I like the charging system that Tesla has the best because there's the most of them, and
it's fast.
And it's really fast, wicked fast. This one, I didn't charge this one, but on the ID4 and the Polestar I did, and that was painful. So,
but they don't have there's no frunk here, or is it?
Oh yeah. Oh no, this has a frunk, and you know what I like about it? The frunk is actually an ice chest. Oh really? This thing here is this is the tailgate. This is the tailgate party because my whole frunk could be a beer chest if you happen to drink beer. If you don't drink beer, then you can put iced tea in it, I guess, as well.
We could put Arnold Palmer's in for
and
Josh.
we could, yes.
Right,
Josh?
Josh?
Could have an Arnold Palmer's right out of the front.
Yeah.
And it's got a drain hole, which is one up from the Tesla. So
Well, isn't it easier for some of these companies to up Tesla because they saw what Tesla did and then
nope,
they could do?
they didn't. And I can tell you one thing. There's going to be something on this on Munro Live. So if you tune into Munro Live, and I think it's going up. When is it going up, Eric? Tomorrow. Tomorrow on Munro Live, you're going to get a chance to see why this thing is vastly different than what Tesla has.
When you say vastly different, do you mean vastly inferior?
Yes.
Okay. We're talking about the Ford
Mach-E.
Mach-E.
Yeah.
Okay. I don't know why it's called Mustang. It doesn't look like a Mustang.
No, it doesn't. It has 4 doors and it's made in Mexico. But you know what? It does better than the ID4.
Well, I'm not
and
even saying a
Polestar.
bad thing. I'm just saying
No.
it doesn't look like like when I
No.
see a Mustang on the road, they want to race me sometimes, and this doesn't look like a Mustang.
Right. No,
You know?
it doesn't. Believe me, anybody, you have a Model S, right?
Yes.
Yeah, anybody that wants to race you is a fool because they're going to lose.
Yeah.
And I remember racing for paper when you lost your car.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
You
yeah.
lost your car?
I did not. No,
Oh.
I always had trick cars. My cars
Oh,
never lost.
You
ever.
made you upped your.
Yes, and then I would say, okay, I don't want your car, but I'll take $1,000 or whatever it was
Yep.
I thought I could get.
Yep.
Yeah, my cars went very fast. I never lost.
Yeah,
Ever.
and I own Tesla stock, but and I own a little bit of Ford because I was they have the whatever the 150 the F-150
Yeah,
and
the Lightning.
yeah. So you said it's either do or die for these
Yeah, it is. Yes.
Is it truly do or die?
Oh, yeah.
Why so?
Because there's a huge number of competitors that we've never seen here before that are coming, and it's going to be impossible to hold them back. And that's the Chinese. And quite frankly, I spent a lot of time in China between 2014 or 2015 until 2019 when we couldn't go anymore because of COVID. And I'm telling you, those cars are well made, they're well engineered, and they're all electric. And I'm telling you, when you look at 150 to 200 different electric car companies, and you look at what they've done, and by the way, like I said, we don't do much training and stuff like that anymore here in North America, but we were busy in China, in Europe, all over the place, trying to figure out how to come up with those better ideas, those better designs. And I'm not sure where the stuff that Tesla had came from, but I can tell you one thing for sure. What I saw when I was touring their SpaceX area, what I saw was basically right out of our book, the book that we train people in on how to design. That's where lean design comes from. How to design the product so it's lean, so that I get the fewest number of parts, the fewest number of opportunities for failure.
Is this like rethinking first principles kind of thing?
It is, because normally what happens is you come up with something that works, but then you sooner or later you're going to have to make this thing, and in a lot of cases you can't make the parts, or you can't. It's just not possible to build it, or it's too expensive.
Okay.
That's when we come in and we'll figure out how to redesign everything.
Okay.
So that's kind of like what we do for a living, but unfortunately not as much with Ford and General Motors.
What to me the word that I'm going to use is astounding. What Sandy goes in and takes a car apart to do it to do anything internally takes longer, costs more money. You
Yeah.
can take your car apart, give advice, and we're going to get to one company you are doing some work with. But you're doing it for these companies like NIO. I don't know if you're doing it for NIO, but you're in China.
Yeah.
Okay, so all these companies, XPeng and all these things, you're working with these clients, but you're not working with Ford and GM right in your backyard.
No, it's funny. We've had more executives roll in here than you can possibly imagine. I mean the highest ranking people at NIO, Geely, BYD,
Build your dream.
you name it. Yeah, there's a whole bunch of them that have been here, looked around, liked what they saw, and they found us, not the other way around.
It's unbelievable, and they're right in your backyard. And this market cap that Tesla happily whatever, but like I'm just
Well,
it's crazy.
if you watch the thing tomorrow, I mean,
I'll watch
we'll talk a little bit about all the hoses and whatnot that are in here versus a really simple system that Tesla came out with. And by the way, the other thing that's happening with Tesla that's going to make it tough, and the Chinese are the same way. They move at the speed of thought. Hey, I think this is a better idea. Let's try it out. Hey, it works. Let's do it. Boom, done, on. I could never do that at Ford. The change board that happens at Ford, that's a big deal. To try and get through that is absolutely astoundingly difficult and long.
Yeah.
Whereas we've watched Tesla make like from 12 changes. 12 changes on a product in a span of 7 months. They were all improvements, all slight improvements. Normally, we would never do that at Ford. None of the normal OEMs like BMW or whatever would do it, but they do it.
I think the words continuous improvement or continuous.
Yeah, continuous improvement is the Dr. Deming thing. Yeah.
That's what you said 2 years ago about
yeah.
Tesla. That's what I remembered. And I know, guys, we started late. We'd like 10, 15 more minutes, but you're one of the companies you're working with, and we've had the CEO on our show a few times. Arcimoto, symbol FUV, fun utility vehicle.
Right.
Do you think three-wheeler type cars have there's a big like outlook for those? Like, what do you think? Is it for the short delivery type stuff?
I think FUV is, like I say, fun. There's also a delivery version of the FUV, but we're also working with Aptera and Nobay and Indigo. And I chose to go and work with them simply because, first off, they wanted help. Secondly, they're not in the market that everybody else is in.
Got it.
And so I know I can make them. I know they're going to be successful. I mean, it's something that I've been doing for a long time, and I know what wins and what doesn't. So Arcimoto is going to appeal to those guys that are looking for a fun vehicle to get from here to there, doors off, that kind of thing. That's kind of like FUV.
Got it.
The Aptera is solar, and I will tell you right now, I'm going to get one of those. I like the idea of solar, and
will it work in Michigan?
it'll work. Yeah, that's an old wives' tale about oh, you can't make solar panels. All right, so I just bought a house in Lake Orion.
Yep.
We haven't moved in yet, but I'm going to have Tesla shingles over the whole house.
Oh, you are?
Yes, and I'm putting in three Tesla Powerwalls because I'm telling you what, I can tell you flat, we don't have enough. Once the big change comes to electric vehicles, we really don't have enough power to make everything go. So I'm going to make sure that I'm taken care of.
And I think and there's something else I heard you talk about once. The government is going to figure out how to tax, because electric vehicles, gas, and so they're going to tax the shit out of.
Exactly right. They will. There's no question about it. And it's going to be a universal tax on electric power. So your universal tax will take care of the roads and all the other infrastructure things that need to happen, because these things do wear out roads. And that's why the other thing that we trying to get involved in is UAVs. So these VTOL, vertical takeoff and landings. Now, VTOLs don't require a lot of road, and the space between them is about 1,000 feet. You have 1,000 feet of separation. That's the separation between one product and another.
Okay.
These, you got about 6 or 8 feet. Okay, so I don't have to have the same. Amount of safety issues and scanners and sensors and whatnot on a VTOL.
Elon Musk said about those like 3 years ago that he didn't think it would take a while for those to take off, because the amount of noise they have to make, like a helicopter has to make a lot of noise to take off in the air. Has the technology improved that isn't the case anymore? I think he said that like 4 years ago.
Okay, so the rumor is that Elon Musk is working on his VTOL right now. And as far as noise is concerned, so we also developed an airplane. Tragically, it was in 2008, and tragically, our sponsor for that was Lehman Brothers. And
really?
So, yeah, they had they were going to put aside, well, they had put aside $500 million.
How about this? Benzinga exists because of Lehman Brothers. I was about to join Lehman Brothers. I had my, it literally closed 4 weeks before I was about to start.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'll show you the model of our what we call the paradigm. It seats 5, it took off and landed all by itself. We rigged it up with 4 aircraft. It took off with, they took off from, what do you call it, Ronald Reagan Airport in Washington, D.C., full of senators and congressmen. It flew to Danville, Virginia, and then flew back again. And everything was totally automatic. Everything was ready to go.
So what happened?
That would be the giant bad years.
I get it.
2008 collapse.
So if I can raise like a couple billion for you right now, we can get this going again?
No, we could do that for, well, I think it's going to have to be a little bit more, but probably about 600 million, and we'd be on the way.
I said a couple billion.
I'll take a couple.
I didn't say a couple million. Is that what you think I said?
I did hear billion, but I thought maybe you made a mistake.
No, I'm a couple billion. I got some contacts. Okay.
Really?
Oh yeah, yeah. Like this.
Is any of them on the line right now? Should I talk?
I mean, they would enjoy this. These guys, they would enjoy this. Okay, we will talk later about that. So, that is where you think it could go. You think it could go to? Okay, that's pretty. I mean, that's terrible. That's the timing, but maybe it's time again. Okay. I know you guys want to know about Tesla, and I try to ask questions. Not everyone. I try to ask questions not everyone else has already asked you. So you took a road trip. You went out west.
Yeah.
You were driving around, and all of a sudden you get a message. You get a message for how much time do we have? About like 5-10 minutes. Okay, I know we went late, so thank you guys. But we took a road trip. You get a call from some person said, "Hey, do you want to meet Elon Musk?"
Yeah.
And the weather was what have you. The car that you took is here. My son wants to buy it because he thinks it's a famous car. He thinks it's like so. Wow. And so you took a detour to Austin, Texas. Can you tell us about that a little bit? And then
it wasn't Austin. It was actually Brownstown. Or Brownsville, rather. So you can't get any further south in the United States than this place.
Oh, really?
And the Rio Grande is like about as wide as my aisle here. You could walk across. Anyway, we went down there. We were in Oregon. We went and visited Archimoto, and we were there. And you were saying, well, geez, you only had a couple of minutes on your show and whatnot about it. Well, that's because when you get an invitation to go and see Elon Musk, you put your car in drive and move on. And I'd already talked to Mark. So at the end of the day, we got in and we drove nonstop from Eugene, Oregon, where they are, through the mountains. And by the way, what's nice about the Tesla is it reroutes you if it thinks there's a problem. So we were driving and we were supposed to go on the on the east side of the mountains. And then suddenly something came up and said, no, you need to get on the west side of the mountains and you need to go like lickety-split.
Oh.
And so we drove, and we didn't know when we were going through the mountains, there was a blizzard right in back of us. 1 hour and a half in back of us was a real blizzard. So we went through the pass that we needed to get through to get to the east side of of the Rockies, and in back of us, an hour and a half later, 42 inches of snow. We skedaddled all the way down, and by the time we got to Las Vegas, that's where the storm ended. We got there, and at that time, then the storm was like 15 minutes in back of us.
You were like in battle, like hunters trying to get to somewhere, or scavengers. Yeah. But there was something to say, but you were not going to give up till you're going to Elon Musk. So the navigation Tesla helped you, but then you get to Brownsville, and you get there a little early, and they give you a tour of SpaceX.
Yeah.
Okay. If I recall, you used to make rockets.
Yes, we worked.
One of your many things you used to do. I used to make rockets. That's what I do at night too, guys. I make rockets. Okay.
Well, it was actually for NASA and for Boeing, McDonnell Douglas and Boeing.
Oh, I make rockets for my 4-year-old.
Oh, the pump up.
Yeah, pump up the water balloons and it goes up.
Very good.
That's what I thought you were referring to. Okay.
We made those too, but my parents didn't like it. We set a field on fire. They didn't like that.
Oh yeah, I almost I did fire. Do you ever do fireworks too back in the day?
Oh yeah, yeah.
Yes. Okay.
I nearly burned my thumb off.
Okay, so
Yeah.
yes, I retired from fireworks after last year. I put a firework in upside down on the mortar, upside down. Don't know how, and it made the biggest hole in this wood. Anyway, we got to go back to the good stuff. Tesla. You do the tour of the gig of not the gig effect, the SpaceX. Then it's time for you to meet with Elon. Okay,
Yeah.
I'm skipping some stuff. Hey, I'm skipping some stuff, and there's good reason. Munro, they have a great YouTube channel. Go watch the interview with it. It's a great YouTube channel. If you're listening and you're not listening live, listen later, subscribe to it. It's great. The guys here who put it on do a phenomenal job. And honestly, it's where I learned a lot of the stuff that I know in this stuff. And I'm like sort of impressed with myself that I know the stuff that he's talking about because I learned it from their amazing YouTube channel. I have to be honest. So credit to your team because I know they just tell you what to say. No, I'm just kidding. But
no, actually, when we talked with Elon, I talked to him for like a half an hour while we were getting, Corey was getting all his junk together, and he wanted to have a private conversation anyway, and there was nothing that was off the table. Nothing.
What did you guys talk about in the private conversation?
We talked about the my view of like he'd heard that I was predicting that the crossover point was 2030 at the time, and I said that may be incorrect, and he said, why is that? And I said, well, I think it's going to happen faster. And then he just started laughing. And just generally, and then engineering types of things on, why do you have segmented magnets versus this, blah, blah, these kinds of things that engineers talk about.
I don't know why he won't put a light in the side mirrors, to the blind spot. I know it's in the car on the display, but I would like a light in the mirror on the blind spot, like just a little light that most cars have these days.
Well, I'll tell you what, I'd like to get rid of mirrors. Mirrors to me are nothing but a drag. And quite frankly, I think what we should have is like a surround type of camera that would look that would tell me exactly what's going around, because there is a blind spot. There's always going to be a blind spot. There's never a blind spot with a camera. If I had, say, we already tore the doors off, but if I had a little bump on the door, I could see completely around me, and I want that. I don't want the stupid wing mirrors. It's like passé. It's time to move on. It's like switches and things, knobs. We don't need them anymore, so why do we still have them? These things are going to happen. I'm certain that NHTSA will catch up and they'll say, okay, well, we'll let you have a camera instead of a wing mirror, because people, we have to have a wing mirror because it's a fail-safe. Really? How many times has you've seen somebody drive by and the wing mirror is kind of like dangling down because they came too close to the garage door or something? It's just, you don't need it. It's just get rid of it. Yep.
And the people listening, you had great access to Elon and their team. You had the meeting with Elon for half an hour, and then you did the interview to say like 8 o'clock, and then they said to you, or Elon said, do you want to stay for our design meeting or something?
Yeah, design review.
So this is Elon Musk, like on a Wednesday night. I don't know what night, I'm making that up, but it was one of those nights.
It was Tuesday or Wednesday.
Tuesday, okay. And he said, do you want to sit around? So you stayed there.
Right.
Will you just give like 30 seconds on how Elon Musk was as a leader? Is it normal for him to be in a meeting when you were at Ford? Was a person like Elon in that meeting? And then the time that you left there at? And were they still going when you left? Did you get kind of tired? All right, will you give that little quick story?
Okay, so we were asked to stick around. And so Corey, I mean, we've got a lot of cameras around here right now, but we do everything on a cell phone, on an iPhone.
I saw that. He laughed.
He laughed his ass off. He thought that was hilarious.
Yep.
But anyway, we were packing up, and he said, "Do you want to stick around? We're going to have a design review on the Falcon rocket." And I said, he said, "You worked on these, I think, before." Somebody told me that. I said, "Yeah, I worked on lots of different rocket engines." So, anyways, we hung around, and at about 11 o'clock, Corey's saying, "Hey, I'm dead," because we had driven. We drove all night, and we were up basically early. So we were kind of shot. So we went in. I made one suggestion, and he said, "Hey, we've got that kind of equipment right now, don't we?" And they said yes. And so This is for the shield on these. Anyway, so they took the thing under advisement, and we said goodnight. And on the way out, there's one thing that really caught my attention, and that was a sign that says at their facility, nothing world changing was ever done in a 40-hour work week. Elon's people. I hire the same kind of people. I'm looking.
Aaron,
for
you should hear what he's talking about.
Yeah, I'm kind of like into guys that are workaholics. I want people that are so passionate they don't care about almost anything else. And there used to be a lot of people like that. Now there's a lot less. And so that's kind of what he's done. He's gone out and he's found people. And by the way, the other thing that scares him to death, that was one of the other things we talked about, is not getting people with the talent he's looking for. Instead, he gets what we would call as HR candidates. You know, they went to the right school, MBAs and stuff like that. They got all the right documentation, but they don't know anything about what it is that he wants to do. So he's scared that one day someone will walk in and have all the right things that he needs in a person, but because they didn't have the sheepskin, or because they didn't have the whatever it was that the HR people thought they should have, they were rejected and put aside. And quite frankly, here at Munro, yes, everybody's an engineer. Some of them don't have degrees. Some of them got PhDs. I don't really care. I want the right kind of person. I want the person who's really into it, who I don't know, is passionate about the stuff that he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, when I started my company, Benzinga, I didn't have any money, and I would hire PhDs, and I defined it as poor, hungry, and driven.
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to do a little quick fire questions, real quick. These are questions from people that sent to me last night. So this is Chris from Canada. I guess I should say Nova Scotia, I guess. He wants to know.
Oh, I can sing Farewell to Nova Scotia if you want.
I guess he may want that. He wants to know, how many years ahead do you think Tesla is versus the competition?
It depends on what area. From a body and chassis standpoint, they're probably a year or two behind. If it's batteries, they're probably 5 years ahead. If it's electric motors and powertrain, probably 5 years ahead. And then if we look at the electronics and the efficiency that they have in their electronics, probably 8 to 10 years ahead.
Okay, so is that the biggest impact of being 8 to 10 years ahead on electronics? Okay. A follow-up to that question is it just simplicity? Why does Tesla not like update the outside of the model that often? Like the Model S, the Model X, the Model X back, it's the same shell. I mean, I know it's continuous improvement. They do a lot of stuff in the internal. Do you just think they just don't get to it and they just leave it? Or is it just what it is what it is? It's a pretty car, don't get me wrong. I love it. Yeah. But was any opinion on that? Why they don't update the outside
more often?
Well,
I'm driving a Jeep Wrangler, so I don't have much of an opinion there. I guess to me, that look, I've been experiencing that look for 50 years. I'm old, and I've had a lot of Jeeps, and they all look the same. They all look like Wranglers. Okay. And then there's the VW Beetle, and then there's the Mini. I mean, at the end of the day, you can put an argument in both directions. Right. So I'm not as big a fan of body changes as other people are. Okay. And I know one thing for sure. If you keep the body for a long time, you save yourself a tremendous amount of money.
Right, because you have the molds and stuff?
Yeah. All the tooling's good to go.
So this goes exactly to the next question. This is Stacy from Miami, Florida. You just said you had a Jeep for many years. Yes. Well, she saw that you bought 5, or your company, either way, bought 5 Tesla Cybertrucks. Yes. You have an order. What do you expect to do with all those, and when do you expect it to be delivered, Stacy asks?
Our number is it 17,000 or 1,700? What? For the order.
Your order number.
Our order number. 17,000. So.
Well, you know Elon now, so you guys are like best friends, right? Come on.
Yeah. He's on speed dial.
He's on speed dial.
I don't think. I don't think Elon Musk is on speed dial.
No, I know.
But he was very gracious enough to give us an interview.
Yep.
I suppose I could get in touch with him, but I don't want to get in touch with him with anything like, hey, can I get? I'm not into that.
Well, I tried to get him to. I back in the day before I knew you, and before like the world knew you, like 3 years ago. I tweeted to Elon, "You gotta hire Munro. The guy is so smart." I literally found a tweet that I wrote
Really?
like 3 years ago to him. Yes, because I saw you talking about some stuff, and that guy Joel told me about you, and it was like you were just like night and day to everything I've ever seen. And so I tweeted that to him. I guarantee I'll show you the tweet. It's from 3 years ago. Anyway, he didn't see the tweet probably, but he has tweeted to me a couple times.
He probably has tweeters that, take care of that.
So you don't know when you're going to get it, but what do you guys want five of them for? You're just giving them out to the...
So the one of them belongs to me, and because I like that truck, and I'm going to probably get one for me. One is going to be for Teardown. One's probably going to be for... so we can do experiments and whatnot, do testing and validation and whatnot. And then the other two are our personal, our guys wanted, they just wanted.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you're excited for that one.
Yes, and by the way, I'm keeping my Jeep Wrangler.
You are keeping it. Okay.
Backup.
Okay, and you don't know when it's going to be delivered, right? Like you don't know.
17,000, we'll probably get it 3 months in, something like that, 4 months in.
Okay, I have a couple good questions on this. Well, they keep asking about the Plaid. I think you saw the Plaid in person, right?
I think I did, maybe.
Maybe you didn't. I don't know. Okay, so I know it's coming out soon. Are you excited about that car?
I was excited. I thought maybe it was going to have the 4680 batteries in it, and the electric motor is something unique. I'd like to see what that is, but the bank of Sandy is run dry, so we're not going to be buying one of those. We have the.
You're not going to take it apart?
Probably not. I don't know. I don't know. We'd have to figure out how we're going to sell reports, because in order to make money, we're a small company. It's not a huge place, and in order for us to tear these things apart, we have to have our sponsors, or the people who are part of our sponsors, and even this is risky. Teslas, we can sell those all day long, but Tesla reports. But something like this,
and
I know.
When you sell Tesla reports, do you sell them to other auto manufacturers, or do you sell them to like mutual funds, or I don't know?
We've sold them to mutual funds. We've sold them to analysts. We've sold them.
We should sell them on Benzinga, Rohan. What do you think? Because that is how deep.
Are the reports? We'd be happy to work something out like that.
How many pages are the reports?
It depends on which one. I mean, yeah.
Wait, 6,000 to 26,000, and they're not all automated, and they're like, I mean, that's a lot of words. That's you guys are actually going through everything.
Yeah, there's nothing. Every part is costed. Everything is analyzed for quality. Everything's analyzed for weight. I mean, labor to put it together. Everything's in there. There's nothing that we skip, and that's why. I don't know. We don't have any real NDAs or anything, but Toyota, Honda, Kia, Hyundai, a flood of Chinese companies, some of the European badges. I mean,
they're customers.
They're all customers. Even Chrysler, or was. I don't know what they may not be buying them in the future, but
Okay.
But FCA did, yeah.
No, that's awesome, and I'm sure the reports aren't cheap, but they're well worth it. I guess they're very cheap. They're very cheap. They're extremely cheap considering what you can get out of it.
It costs us about $1 million, $1.1 million, $2 million for us to analyze these things and put them all together. We sell these for, I don't know, 80 grand or something. What is it? 80 grand?
Oh, that's
just bring it over.
Will you bring it over?
This is Corey, yeah.
Oh, this is Corey.
This is Corey,
I actually linked in you too, and then you wrote back to me. You're very nice, and you were in the videos and stuff. That's Corey that went on the trip.
Yeah.
Look at
this is this is only one. This is the HVAC system for the BMW i3. So this is about the right size, maybe a little bit small for if we print it. We don't print them much anymore. We send them out in a PDF, and then you can.
This is just the HVAC system?
Yeah, for the. It's 1 of 14. Yes, 14.
How many people work on this thing?
On that one, there was about 15, 20.
Yeah. This is insane.
Yeah. It's insane. And quite frankly, we know one thing for sure. We know that that on the Model Y, which we started selling in June of last year.
Amazing. This place is amazing.
When we started selling that, Ford actually was started the teardown of their Model Y, and they're still tearing it down. And we could add it to them in their hands. I mean, engineers need information
so
like
there is-
now.
And the Ford isn't customers of this stuff.
No, they don't see it as I don't know. I really don't want to throw rocks at Ford.
I know, I don't.
I'm
They're-
tearing their car apart. They may come and
Yeah. No,
Yell at me.
I hear you. We'll have to call Bill. Okay. We only have a few minutes, literally 3 minutes left. So I want to go to battery technology because graphene, lithium, public companies. Someone wrote me this. Maybe you have an answer. You did an interview, QuantumScape CEO,
Yeah.
Jagdeep Singh. Guys can go to Munro Live again and see the interview there. I don't want to waste time asking questions on it because it's great there and you'll get most of the benefit there. So we'll skip what I was going to ask there. What I do want to ask is one of my guys who's very into this electric battery stuff. He said solid state battery for cars, timeline, and then he wrote thoughts on manganese as a metal for upcoming chemistries. Why did it take so long for existing OEMs to switch to electric? Will they succeed? Is there enough metals in the world for our ambitions? That was, I guess the first part of the question is more so.
Yeah. Okay. So first off, QuantumScape, solid power. I've got another one sitting on my desk right now. And there's battery technologies that are coming out so fast, it's impossible to keep up. I still think that the best battery on the planet, if they can get it built in volume, is going to be the Tesla and Panasonic 4680. And the reason for that is just because they're going to be available. They can make them a lot faster than you can pouch batteries. So that's one thing. I showed you back there the ID4 battery pack and the batteries that are in it.
Yep.
We're going to be looking at those a little seriously. We'll look at these ones here. So LG, SK, Panasonic, all these battery companies, all of them are working feverishly, but there's all these little rinky-dink places that are cranking out battery technology that's brand spanking new, chemistry that no one ever thought of before. And even the U.S. government is getting involved in nickel mines, lithium. Lithium is basically flat mined. It's like it's a rare earth, so it's mostly in deserts and stuff like that. We're working with Jordan actually on silica sand. That's one thing I'd really like to somehow get the connection here, because in Detroit we have a lot of folks from the Middle East that might be interested in investing in that.
You think that could be better than using lithium, or is it?
Oh no, that's silica sand for chips.
Chips, yeah.
Yeah,
see, I thought I did my research and listened to Munro Live. I missed that episode. Okay.
Well, no, it's
Silica
not.
sandwiches.
It's going to be an episode, but right now what we're looking at is everything that's out there is so in flux. This is like a great time to be alive if you're an engineer. I mean, there's so much going on. By the way, we didn't talk about software, but Tesla's software for their automatic guided vehicle system is only 100,000 lines of code. That's less than what we have in our lean design software. I mean, our software does a lot of tricks, but it doesn't keep you from crashing into a tree. I mean, it's amazing how quickly and easily they do stuff.
Tesla is. People can say they're going to do electric cars, but Tesla's 8 to 10 years ahead. I mean, that's what I mean. I'll say it right now. Tesla saved me from an accident a week and a half ago. Literally, I was rear in the car and I went to hit the brakes. Tesla did an emergency brake for me. It was like the craziest thing. I never had it happen where it applied the brake and I didn't hit the car. And Tesla, and think about it. How many deaths a day are there from car accidents? So when people say stuff and want to ridicule Elon, I get so pissed because how many lives are saved per day by driving? Like, I would have hit that car.
Right.
I mean, I'm telling you, I would have hit that car if it wasn't for Tesla.
Well, here's one of the things that I just found out.
It makes me angry.
Well, this was truly astounding. Somebody sent me the interview that was Elon Musk was giving to some reporter, and he was very calm and collected, but he definitely was throwing the press under the bus. And here's what happened: someplace in Mexico, a Tesla was reported to be caught on fire, and it took 2 hours to put it out, and this is horrible. Then Elon filled him in. The guy was going 3 times faster than he was supposed to on a side road. He slammed into a flex beam guardrail, which tore the wheels off the car. He went through the flex beam wheels, through the flex beam guardrails, flew across the median onto the oncoming traffic, hit the ground. Now he's running on top of the battery case, scraping the battery case along, slammed into a tree, and the 2 occupants got out.
They survived.
And we're fine. The better part, Tesla was called down. Oh, and a few minutes later, it caught on fire. So Tesla was phoned, and the people came down to this, wherever this place is in Mexico, came in, they flew in. Who do you think picked them up?
Tesla.
The guy that was driving the Tesla, to thank them for saving his life. Unbelievable.
And the media puts
the media, oh, look, it caught on fire, just like the 2 guys in Texas.
Oh, yeah.
What's the deal with that?
Well,
Unbelievable.
the media, and Benzinga, we're in the media, but we have a different outtake. If you're wearing a white shirt and you have a little yellow stain that's this small, the media talks about that. Tesla saves lives every day, and they don't get the credit for it. And it's nice that these other car companies, and Elon Musk did open source like a lot of those patents, by the way, because he wanted a better world out there. So that's being said. So I guess last question, one last question that we didn't get to. We'll have Sandy Munro on again. Munro, I mean, this company, you guys, if you haven't been to it, again, go to the YouTube, go to the channel. He has a thing coming out tomorrow. It's awesome. You got to see the QuantumScape interview. That guy's good. He answered.
By the way, another one. No, nothing was off the table and nothing was cut.
Got it. Okay, this is a line you said, and this is kind of what I want to leave this with, I think. It's not the big that eats the small. It's the fast that eats the slow.
Correct.
Something you said.
Yes.
And I think it's a line that you kind of coined. Tesla or some other companies that move at the speed of thought. And I'm going to start saying that, because instead of pontificating and overthinking, analysis paralysis, it's making the moves, testing. I mean, that whole battery day, like with the battery being part of the car versus being this extra thing, I think is what this is about. And I know you're talking about I mean, I want to see your airplane thing. I can't wait to see it before we leave. But like what you guys are doing here is amazing. If you're an auto manufacturer, you're not talking to Munro, you're missing out. I think they give a site, leandesign.com too.
Yeah, leandesign.com.
Yeah, so check that out. There's a lot of stuff here. Is there anything that I mean, I'm sure there's a million things, but anything you want to add in so people that I met, any like Elon Musk story that when you were there and he said some joke to you that was funny, anything you want to add in or...
I don't remember any jokes, but one of the things that I've talked about quite a bit is, the use of castings as opposed to...
Oh, yes.
Yeah, okay.
That's unbelievable.
It's right there. That's the front of a car. That's the center of the car. And that's the rear of the car. And that's been sitting there for 12 to 15 years.
I almost fell out of my chair, guys. So this is what Tesla is basically doing. Not exactly, because that's 1 piece or that's 2 pieces.
That's 3 pieces, and he's going to have 3 pieces as well.
Yes, and so
look at that spinning around.
So Munro has been telling people to do this forever.
Yeah.
And Tesla did it, and it gets rid of a ton of parts, like 30%. And you said the floor shop you get rid of, but people don't. I don't know, and so. Well,
you get rid of an awful lot of the factory will shrink by about 1/3 if you put that in. Yeah.
All right, this is awesome. You're getting a lot. People are giving you a lot of love in the chat. Thank you for coming on. I know we went longer. We had some things in there, but we wanted to do it on site. And listen, Sandy doesn't just think of these. The golf carts you're driving on the golf course today, thanks Sandy, because if you didn't have him, you may have bruised your leg, you may have fell out and all that stuff. It's because of him. And those ice skates that you have for your kids, I think he's going to like the idea and go create those skates for us just on the side. That's what they do here. So, I don't know. Thank you very much for coming on.
Thank you.
And get your latest edition of the SAE International, and then tune in and download the podcast, RazReport. Listen to the podcast. We'll have that up by today or tomorrow. And talk to you soon. Thank you, Sandy. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you.